Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Old man comic book reviews. Look at this. Look at it! So many. I'm just going to start at the top, work our way down. A lot of good books this week. This week, which would be May... Let's see, today's the 23rd. So 22nd is Friday. No, Saturday. 21st is Friday.
19th?
Sounds good. May 19th. This is for the comic books that came out the week of May 19th, 2021. Over the year, I put the year in. Anyways, we're going to start with Black Knight. Curse of the Ebony Blade. With our, let's see, it's by Cy Spurrier and Sergio Davila. Inker is Sean Parsons. I assume one of these other guys is the penciler then. So we got Elsa Bloodstone. It's always nice to see Elsa Bloodstone in a comic book. There's another weirdo in here who's got like a bloodstone for a head or something. They're trying to get all of the pieces together. The Black Knight has the ebony blade, but apparently there's also like the ebony shield and the ebony chalice, and there's a spot in here where they have a flashback and he fought Thor. So that was kind of nice. Well, it wasn't him. I think it was like an ancestor, because that's how it works. And they actually have to... They figured out that as long as he holds the ebony blade in his hand, he cannot die. So they shot his head off. And he got better. And now he has to drink from the black chalice. Although Mordred is of the opinion... Is it Mordred? I want to think it's Mordred, yeah. So, Mordred, yeah, I was right. And apparently he shouldn't drink from the black chalice, but he's gonna drink from the black... There's 2 more issues of this stuff going on, and it was pretty good. I had a good time with that one. Daredevil, we're up to 30. There's your new Daredevil, isn't she cute? It's Elektra, settle down. There we go. All right, with, where we got him? Chip Zdarsky is our writer. Mark Cicchetto and Mike Hawthorne are pencilers. Marco Cicchetto. Marco is also an inker. And there's another inker, Adriano De Benedetto. I probably said none of those right. So Daredevil's still in prison. He got stabbed last issue. So he's in the hospital. They're trying to get him out of prison. And he's like, no, I got to serve my time. I did the crime. Which they're starting to call him stupid for thinking about it doing that way. And Kingpin has a date with Typhoid Mary. So that was interesting to watch. And it's funny because there's a bad guy in town and Elektra's like, I own everything in town. And then she has to fight this guy that literally looks like Jason. And apparently he's from the Hand. So, kind of hard to kill, big and mean. And yeah, it's a good issue. She's training this little girl shoots somebody for her. And bullseye's out. He killed everybody in the asylum. He's on his way out. And so we get this cool issue picture for next issue of the angel. And yeah, so Gojira, Monsters and Protectors. I gotta say, I am not a fan of the artist on this one. It's too kid. I don't know, maybe you're trying to make it for the kid. That's great. Writer is Eric Burnham. Artist is Dan Schoening. Sorry, Dan, if it hurt your feelings. Deal with it. Mothra is in it, and the little Mothra twins are in it, and Godzilla's in it. And they're trying to figure out exactly what Godzilla's up to, and there's a real good chance he's going to be fighting Biollante next issue. So we were all excited about Biollante being in the next issue. So yeah. So ta-da! Godzilla. I think this is like a 5-issue miniseries by IDW. I don't know. Larson from Adventure Time and Orcs! Volume 4. It's hard to say it's an issue because they're big. Written and illustrated by Christine Larson. She thanks some guy, H.E. Gregory, for flats. I don't know how art works. I don't know what flats means, but... So our orcs are still on an adventure, and they're hanging out with the dwarves, and they're getting, it's getting weird. There's like some astral plane stuff, and Then there's the orcs doing the fun and dance, and there's a little story about some monster made of sand, and there's a mer lady in it. She's a what do they call it? I don't remember what they call it. And we find out that one of these people is what they call a manifestation. They're not an actual human or an orc or whatever. They're just there one day. They have no life before what they've done, so that was kind of neat. There are elves. There is a spider with all the little spider babies. Oh, it's a better picture. A better picture there. I know you guys can't see any of this, so that's fine. But so it's good. This would make a great cartoon. So in the meantime, we get this, and thank you, Christine Larson. First issue of Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe. So first issue, he shows Spider-Man why Spider-Man is going to get hurt. Oh, let's do the thingamabobs here. Let's see. Jean Lun Yang is the writer. DK Ruan is the artist. And I'm pretty sure I messed up both of those. So, yeah, there's this. He's fighting these monsters that are created by this thing that goes on them. Spider-Man wants to hang out. Apparently at one time Spider-Man didn't have a spider sense, so Shang-Chi taught him Kung Fu to make up for no spider sense, and then he stopped doing the Kung Fu. So, and when you put the little thing on the person's face, they turn into a rage monster. Let me see. I mean, a really big, giant rage monster. And the little girl that hangs out with Shang-Chi thinks that Spider-Man's webbing feels like snot. Like a cross between snot and chewing gum. So, meanwhile, Shang is going to take care of every evil thing that is his responsibility and get rid of it. Next issue, Shang-Chi versus Captain America. We'll see how that goes. That should be fun, right? After many, many waiting times, it's issue 6. We're smack dab in the middle of Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and Owen King. Bunch of kings. Adapted by Rio Yours. Art by Allison Sampson. If you don't, I don't think I talked about this. I think it's been that long that they brought out a last issue. Mm-hmm. But if you fall asleep and you're a woman, a cocoon comes over you. If someone tries to take the cocoon off, you turn into a rage monster. And now there is this person who may have been around for a very, very long time, like back in the time of Troy, Helen of Troy, things like that. She might be that old. That's why she doesn't have to sleep. So it's interesting. It's Stephen King and his kid Owen doing stuff. So that's kind of nice. Here, we want to get this out of the way. So remember last time I said stray dogs and they made me mad with issue 3, but out of decent kindness of my heart, because they printed pictures of my dogs in the back in issue 3, which I missed because that's how much I hated issue 3. So I read issue 4 to give them a chance to make up for it. And there we go. You're done. All right. They get nothing from me now. They're done. All right. So, Trials of Ultraman! Yes. And with a cover, with a picture. With a picture, with a cover. Writers Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. Artist Francesco Mana. And so Ultraman is teamed up with one of these people. Shin Hayata is the new Ultraman. But the time frame that he's allowed to be Ultraman is tiny. And in this issue, they may have used it all up. And the original Ultraman's human host is in this. And he hasn't aged, and they don't know why. And so, also, this guy is trying to prove that they've been faking it this entire time, so he built a giant robot kaiju to prove that the Ultraman, the Ultra Force, what do they call themselves again? I don't remember. I don't watch Ultraman. I watch Kamen Rider. But I love Ultraman comic books. What is the name of this thing? United Science Patrol. My friends that know this are going to hate that I didn't remember United Science Patrol. So he's saying that they're all fake. All the kaiju are fake. They're not. But he built a robot one to prove his point. And he's going to unleash it on Tokyo. And we don't have an Ultraman right now. So just, beef it up a little bit. This issue 3, they got 2 issues to fix it. Oh, let's save that one for last. The Flash! Oh, The Flash! 770! Not really. They went back to, what is it called? Legacy stuff. Alright, so, here we are. Jeremy Adams is the writer. Jack Herbert, Brandon Peterson, and Kevin McGuire are the artists. They had to have 3 artists because when he's... Okay, so while he's going through the world in different time zones and absorbing himself into other Flashes and fighting things. In this particular one, he has become Jay Garrick. And Jay Garrick at this time has teamed up with the Ray. We all loved the Ray. But it's World War II and they're fighting Hitler. Specifically, Hitler's gotten his hands on the Spear of Destiny. So, it's great. It's a great book. It's they give you a lot of book for $3.99. It's packed. And he fights Hitler. It reminded me a lot of the old Justice Society of America, which is really, really good. And then he leaves at the end and leaves Jerry Garrick with the Ray. And then the very last panel, the only panel Kevin McGuire actually drew, he goes to the next Flash. And it's Lex Luthor and everybody. And he says, all in favor of admitting Reverse Flash into the Legion of Doom say evil. And Wally goes, uh-oh. So he's Reverse Flash now for the next issue. I laughed for a while. I couldn't stop laughing. We're going to do this one. This is a volume. Look at that. They charge $8 for it. It better be. Ultra Mega. It's like if, we talked about before what Ultra Mega is. The James Herron, creator, artist, writer, did it all. I mean, he's got a couple other guys working for him here, letterer, colorist, thing like that. And it still reminds me a lot of just insane old Nemesis, martial law, things like that. And they have to fight. The kids are getting dressed up as Ultra Megas, and they're in a city made out of cardboard. And they give them kaiju to fight. And apparently the kaiju aren't very big. We all thought they were big, and they're not. And so you got, let's see, there's Strax, Rip Bash, and Boosh. Boosh is hilarious because you're like, oh, I'll fight Boosh. And then Boosh eats the first guy. This thing comes out of him and he eats the first guy. This is bloody, this is gory. People get slaughtered. Don't get attached to anyone, basically, because even the kid at the end who's trying to save somebody gets a big old bite taken out of him, and you're like, oh, he should be fine. He's not fine. He's missing a large quantity of his torso at the end of this book. And I don't know how many of these we're getting. I think we're getting 4. I think that's it. I think we're getting 4, and yes. Our first humongous arc with all-out Ultra Mega action. But how will Noah, Noah's the kid that's missing his torso, survive? So, we get 4. If they never make more than just the 4, that's fine. But I hope they make more because Ultra Mega's great. And then for silliness, we are going off to... They do a series called starring Sonia Devereaux. They're all parody comic books. They're all issue 1, even though this legitimately says that it's number 6 in a series. And there's very little setup. She's in a movie called Warrior Women Death Team 5. She meets a guy at a convention, and then we get to see Warrior Woman Death Team 5. It's full of puns. The one guy is named Romero, and he comes back to life, so he's the knight, because he's a knight in Shining Armor. He's the knight of the living dead, and his name is Romero. There are these big buxom women who fight the bad guys. That's what they are. They're Death Team 5. My favorite part of this comic book is I have a Facebook friend who's in a terrible, wonderful, horrible movie called Zombie Nightmare. Mystery Science Theater has destroyed Zombie Nightmare a couple of times. He's the other cop other than Adam West. His name is Frank Dietz, assuming I said his name correctly. He's in the whole first panel. Somebody comes up, talks to him. I called him up on Facebook. He goes, it was an honor to be in it. And I'm like, sweet, that was great. So there you go. You got a wonderful stack of some interesting things. You know, there's some things that I'm going to talk about. But other than that, this is the most comic books in 1 week that I've gotten in a while. So for Sophie and Theo, I'm very glad you came over today. We had barbecued chicken and potatoes and watermelon and cooked outside, and you guys had a rough weekend, so I let you just sit in front of my laptop and watch god-awful videos. Some fella named Preston, I guess, he's who all the kids are doing with their, their hula hoops and their fax machines, with these hip new kids that are, what are they, 6? They're 6! So it was very nice having you over, and you're coming over next weekend for a sleepover. Maybe you'll help me do the comic book reviews. That'd be great, wouldn't it? In the meantime, go to a comic book store, get some comic books. Just look in the 50-cent bin if you don't have a lot of money. I know these things are expensive. And we'll see you next week. Bye.